bottom line is, as I said, they're getting the push-pull that's leading them to the United States. The push from their own countries with the stick, and the pull from this country with a president who's essentially said, you come here and we'll treat you well.
No, that's right, David. I mean, this is gut-wrenching stuff. You know, these 5 kids that you're talking about that were left alone at the border, abandoned. And this is just a reminder that the criminal element that we're dealing with here is heartless, right? You know, that the children are treated as a commodity that are easily dispensed with when they're no longer convenient. And this can't be normative. This cannot be a default position. And you have to ask yourself, too, David, what parent would cast their children alone into this hellish situation? I think, you know, the desperation for entry, I think, is being triggered and almost given hope by an administration that is naive of what their words and their actions are incentivizing in this dangerous trek. It's just awful.
But it goes beyond naivete. It goes to the point of avoidance. It's like they're blocking out the images from the border that we're looking at right now. And of course, they still don't think it's I mean, if 5 children under the age of 7 are left in the wilderness, if that's not a crisis, I don't know how you define human characteristics.
Yeah, I think Representative Tony Gonzalez, the District 23 in Texas, said it best. You know, he posted a tweet, and the sentiment. I mean, he expressed the sentiment of many when he said, "Enough is enough. Let's work together to solve this crisis." And I would ask the Biden administration and other Democrats to take him at his word. He's already joined with the Representative Cuellar out of my district here along the border in Texas. To propose legislation that would reform our asylum process so that the system isn't gamed and so that we have other resources that we can bring to bear to address the situation. I mean, David, we're talking about substantial resources here. 300 asylee officers, 150 immigration judges, 300 case managers, and over 600 Border Patrol agents. This would be a huge relief to a lot of folks. 4 major detention centers that look.
But Daniel, let me just ask before you go further. You talk about substantive action. I don't see any substantive action from the Biden administration other than the fact of moving some individual. I mean, I'm talking about substantive action to stop the flow, to stop children being left alone in the wilderness, to stop the coyotes from making hundreds of millions of dollars by their human trafficking. I don't see the substantive actions that an executive could take to stop that flow. Do you?
I don't, David, and honestly, I think a lot of Americans are really frustrated and infuriated that Vice President Harris, you know, hasn't addressed this issue, even though she was assigned to this, and she's almost been derelict of her duty. I say just dismiss her, please, and have Biden step up and address the tough challenges here, because obviously we need a spirit of bipartisanship to get something done, and I think a lot of Americans are feeling burned by the empty rhetoric here.
Right, and as we just heard from our reporter, who's been doing terrific work on the border, when he talks to these people, particularly the ones from Venezuela, but it could be the same from Guatemala or wherever, is that it's the governments that they're fleeing from. One guy showed Bill a bullet wound that he had from one of the protests in which he was shot by police in Venezuela. I have no doubt that's true. I'm knowing something about the region. But if foreign governments are the problem, why would sending them billions of dollars, which is this administration's solution to the problem, why would that help at all? We would be empowering those people that are forcing the exodus.
David, it would not. You're talking about corrupt governments who have a bad system of governing, a bad economic system where it's top-down, totalitarian approach to the private sector. They keep it shackled. It's not. They're not free to unleash their entrepreneurial capacities. And this is the problem, that they're not creating opportunity and generating wealth or allowing citizens to generate wealth for themselves and others. And when you have that kind of situation, I heard one of the Venezuelans that were stopped, and he said, "I just want to have a life." I mean, there is desperation that has set in Venezuela, in the Northern Triangle. You're absolutely right. There is a massive push factor. And luckily, we still have a massive magnet, factor here in America. But if we continue down the road where we continue increasing taxes and regulations and stopping energy development, it's not going to be like that for too long.
Well, the bottom line is this is a crisis, and if you refuse to recognize that, you're going to go nowhere at all. Daniel Garza, great to see you again. Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, David.